Well, welcome to another episode of the Old Paratrooper Podcast, and I'm joined today with ex-1 Para SFSG and former Chennai 6 prisoner, Nick Dunn. How are we doing, Nick?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on your podcast, and good morning.
Happy days. How's things? All right?
Yeah, just plodding on as usual, as we all say. Just live day to day, keep positive as best I can, and just, live life.
Keep pushing forward, mate. Keep pushing on, as you've got to, as we all have to in this day and age, unfortunately. So, what I'll do is I'll start at the very beginning. Best place to start, I guess. Growing up, you grew up in Newcastle, a place called Ashington, is that right?
Yeah, a little town in Northumberland, just north of Newcastle, called Ashington. Of our places as well, but I like to class myself as someone from Ashington because I spent most of my life in that town. Yes, I've moved to one or two of our local towns in my time, but majority of my life has been spent living in Ashington. It's a coal mining kind of place in the northeast, but it's just like a lot of towns nowadays. It has its mining history, and it's got its this and it's that, but it's a town where it's changing just like everyone else. I'm not too sure if it's changing for the best, but it's just like every other town now in the UK. It has its good parts, its bad parts, so to speak. So
yeah, they kind of, there's no money in the little towns anymore, and you see loads of places boarded up or to let or to empty. The small towns seem to be done away with. I remember where, like, local to me, the place where I grew up in Nottinghamshire, pubs were open, it were busy and bustling. All the pubs are shut up now and closed down and become something else. So, like you say, it's just the way of the world, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got another Turkish barbers opening up, and I'm like, clearly they got the memo. This is good to launder the money, because there's a few barbers in nail tech shops and this, that, and the other. But come on, let's not beat around the bush. We know that for not just cutting your hair and trimming your beard, let's just put it and leave it as that.
Barbers and charity shops. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I know, I'll get moved to them.
So yeah, school-wise, how did you get on at school? Do you enjoy school or have dramas? Because kind of the link I'm getting with a lot of Para blokes, ex-Para blokes, and some of the SF guys is school. It was like it's a bit of a mixed bag. A majority didn't enjoy it or had dramas at school. So what was you like at school?
A little shithead.
Same.
I rebelled. I didn't like school, but when you speak to people who you went to school that you could still consider as friends, or people and then you get talking to them, and it's always that era of your life, and we hate it, but when you think back and reflect, you were like, they were awesome times. They were the best times of your life. And mine definitely was, because of the era I grew up in, growing up, in the early 90s and etc., where you were out with your friends. Yeah, I was seeing the dawn of the computer age. My era, we experienced a lot of old and new as we grew up, but we had that get out, go on adventure, making camps, just playing armies and stuff like that. You'd see a stick and you'd be like, yeah, my knowledge of this kind of weapon would just fit this stick. And you'd be playing with your friends and no care in the world, a strong, disciplined family. Like, if you did wrong, it was a clout across the lug or a smack doss. And if you fell over, it was, well, you'll not do that again. Oh, no sympathy. Well, no, You need to toughen up, Buttercup. The world's not gonna, fall over for you when you get older. The world is a tough place. You need to be tough.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you were praised, you were praised. Oh, there's a couple of quid, pocket money. Back in the 90s, you'd be like, Jesus, I'm rich, yeah. What did you get from the shop? £2 mix-up. What? Yeah. But that's what it was like being a kid. It was great, and then it's just something that I'm really glad I was part of growing up in that era.
Yeah, I'm the same because I think I'm a little bit older than yourself. You wouldn't think so looking at us, obviously, but you're a Geordie, though, you know what I mean? Like I say, up north and that, you seem to age faster up there, don't you? So.
Well, the other day at work, I got told I looked about 12, but I didn't take that as a compliment.
Yeah, so like I say, I grew up sort of same sort of areas, so it was always outside and sort of playing, climbing trees, kind of out on your BMX, making ramps and stuff like that, making the old trolleys and sort of go-karts that you used to make and stuff. And that I had this same conversation on the last podcast as well. It was like talking about that's gone now. Kids don't tend to go outside as much, and they're on the phones all the time. I don't necessarily feel like it's a really good thing. So it's a shame. I'm glad, same as you grew up in a good era, probably one of the last generations. If you're in your late 30s, early 40s, probably one of the last generations that did that.
Yeah. You see the kids of today, and it's sad. It's a sad case to see, and like even like with the discipline level, we did wrong, we got punished. You did right, you got praised. You weren't mollycoddled by your parent. You hurt yourself. Oh, you'll not do that again. No. And that's how you experienced and learned growing up as a child. It wasn't fend for yourself, but it was like you were out fending for yourself, experiencing things on an adventure. Now kids, I don't even know why some kids have a bike. They don't even go anywhere. They just piss around.
Yeah.
And you see them, like, in my town, they're just in their groups, sitting outside the leisure centre, just sat doing nothing on their phones. And I'm like, wow. I know they don't really have a lot of things these days. The councils and the government have stripped away, like, youth clubs and, stuff like joining. I know as a kid, I joined clubs and I got kicked out straight away. But like cadets, you rarely see cadets popping up, and then when you do, it's like I didn't know they still existed, kind of thing. And like in my job, I come across so many kids, and I just ask them, I speak to them, I said, "Oh, come on, stop doing that." And and I just think with social media is good, but it's also bad as well. And I think it's because the nature and how the upbringing of the societies let our kids experience things is they have to be told, they have to be shown. They don't like experience and improvise. I said to a kid, I said, go out, improvise. And they went, what's improvise mean? And I was like, I felt I had to turn away and go, what are they teaching them? What are they teaching them? Improvise. Yeah. I know it might sound a educated word for a small child, but I'm talking to young teenagers growing up. They'll be like in high school. They'll be starting to do their GCSEs or whatever they do now. You don't know what improvisation is. You don't know means go out and explore. And if you can't think of something to do, you do it anyways, and you just wing it in life. And they just turn to crime now, and it's just mental, absolute mental. Yeah. Like, it's sad, but
yeah, definitely it is. And like I say, I don't see it getting better anytime soon, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. So, where was the decision How did you come about joining the army? And I suppose where was the
Well,
decision to join the mighty Reg?
I think joining the army was quite an easy option. You know, growing up as I did, you were, you know, the action men, and you get the old paratrooper ones, and you throw them off your top of your stairs, and it'll cream in, and you're like, oh, up the stairs you go, and you land properly, and you're watching like the old World War II films on a weekend with your dad or your granddad, for those who did that, you know, and as I was growing up, you had like the skirmishes. I remember, you know, seeing the Kosovo and Sierra Leone, and obviously getting older, you had the unfortunate things with Twin Towers that led to going into hunting for Bin Laden, and you know, now I can say what I can, but you're like, wow, we're going into Iraq again, and this and the other, and people might not realise this, but I was originally going to join the Royal Marines.
Oh, put me deep,
I know,
Nick.
I know. I'm glad I made the correct decision. No disrespect to them, but no, I'm not. I'm definitely not a thinker. I'm thick as mint. I'll do the job then and hope for the best, like most Reg. But yeah, and then you always had them older war films, and you know, you've got, you know, The Bridge Too Far, and it's such a iconic classic film, regardless of ex-Reg or not. It's, you know, it's the operation itself. You know, yes, it was a disaster, but it could have been so much more if they stopped fucking partying and came up to help her. But that's Harry for you. Always pissing about. No, like, it was just you know, it was the incentive. It was the pull. The army be the best. It was like bum bum bum. You're like, wow, that I want to see the world. Yeah, see the world of the shitholes countries. But yeah, you didn't. You know, you had to go to different places, and yeah, you know, it was the pulling. Yes, it had, you know, Afghan and Iraq, but it was, even without that, it still had the pull. Now, you rarely see army be the best. You don't see that anymore. You don't see the advert, and when you do see the adverts nowadays, it's, oh, how are you feeling? What? Oh, it's about togetherness, and I'm thinking, no, it's not. It's about smashing shit up, man. Fucking, that's the army for you. Go in, smash shit up, save the day. Not, oh, how are you doing, buddy? You know, oh, fuck off.
We've certainly moved on with that sort of thing, haven't we? And it's a change. I mean, you're probably devil's advocate here, but like every generation will tell you that their generation in the military was different and everything else. But I feel like within the last sort of maybe 10, 12 years, we've seen the biggest shift, not just within the military, within in society,
Within
kind of. It's a big change for certain things and stuff. So, and obviously, I think it's not helped at all with without going in political, because I'm not big into the politics side of things. But obviously, there's been a lot of cutbacks in the military. We're more than aware of that. Along as you know, other public services and stuff, fire service, police force, cutbacks, and it only has sort of one thing. It has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? So
it does, yes. When you used to see the British military in its might, when you look aside America, their army, right? Bigger landmass, bigger people, bigger army. Their logistics is probably triple the size of our British army now. But the standard of soldier, Brit to Yank, is worlds apart. Even, and I will say this today, even the standards today. However, what a lot of people don't realise, unless you're ex-military, you can see the shift, i.e. the descaling, the amalgamation, the creation of new regiments to make it look fancy, but it's just to hide the fact that you're cutting the army. You know, it was between 10, 20 years ago, the amalgamation of the Yorkshire regiments and stuff like that. Like, that was just chipping away older regiments with sublime history, amazing history, gone just to form a new regiment with no history. And we've seen this more recently with the Rangers, you know, and I'm thinking, what was the incentive there? What was the incentive? Because I thought that's what SFSG was to mirror, their Rangers of America, but it proves that they're too advanced in that, so they had to create another regiment to kind of marry and mirror things over in America, and they've had to sacrifice, I think, 1 or 2, 3 regiments for that. Yes, you can chuck all the gear and Gucci shit, but the soldiers are still the same.
Yeah.
I think learn new weapon systems and learn new this and that, but you know, everyone's got their own, you know, take on it, I suppose.
Yeah, no, well, it's good to hear. But your thoughts on it, just, you know, and it's like you say, it seems to be a way of. I'm no expert in that sort of thing. It's years ago I left the military, but yeah, it does seem like you say you end up creating a new unit, but what they've done behind the scenes is they've lost 2 or 3 battalions. You know what I mean, along the way. So you write in that it would appear that like all the glamour of this new unit, but it's just to disguise the cutbacks, which again they do that in all the services. You know, it looks like they're doing this. Oh, we're going to put a brand new fire engine or a brand new this and that, and then behind closed doors, the councils are cutting money as passed down from the government. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it is. You know, like I said, the way of the world. I don't see it getting any better anytime soon either. So, so your time in 1 Para then. So obviously, what 18 were you joined?
Yeah, 18.
Straight to 1 Para?
No, straight to training. I would have been in 1 Para by that age, but the paperwork got delayed a month, so I joined training 18, and then obviously did me training, and I'm not gonna lie, fucking hard. Got injured a few times with my knees because cabin's just not natural, especially when I'm built up like fucking 5 foot fucking nothing. So when the taller guys are just having a brisk walk, I'm practically fucking running,
doubling at the back.
Dublin, yeah, and it got to the point not long before P Company where I thought I'm gonna have stress fractures on my hip, and I was given disco sticks, and I was just thinking, I've had my knees injured twice with the tibia band and this, and I'm shitting myself, and I'm like, I'm gonna get MD'd, and I haven't even passed training, and I'm gonna be an embarrassment, and I was like, you know, so I think I was starting to get the mindset of what it takes to be a parachute regiment soldier, the fuck you, I'm not giving up attitude. And I went, no, I think the screws it basically did it for a reason, because they need to know who can do it, who can pass that finish line, that attitude to, don't matter how hard you try, it's never giving up. Yeah. Even if you die before getting that, getting from A to B, as long as you gave that 100% effort, that's what they want. And if I reflect back now, I'm sure they said, if you don't book your ideas up, you're going to get MD'd, you little cunt. And I was like, fuck this. So I went back I hobbled to the med centre, and I went, fuck them. And then next week I started a paid company, and I worked me fucking arse off. And then the stretch I made us cry at the end because everyone was piling in, and I was just going like that. I was never getting a break. But then that's what they want.
No, they want people.
there was 2 people that finished on one of the logs when I did pay company. That's what they want. They want you to try and do as best as you can. That's what they're wanting, and that's the whole point of paid company is testing how far you're willing to go, and they give you the little mindsets, like milling, pretend that you've got to get more rounds down than the enemy. You know what I mean? So it's the little incentives to get you over the finish line, and I don't think other regiments have got that. They haven't. It's proven.
Yeah,
but we all do the good job.
Well, yeah, of course they do. Yeah, and they're all different, aren't they? Different units and everything else. But and like I said the other day, I was chatting to someone. I nearly joined the Worcestershire Foresters. That was my local unit, and then my best mate was like, "No, we're joining this unit," and we ended up joining Para Reg. Went to 2 Para, as you know. But yeah, Depot. I found Depot hard, and there was a lot of lads that found it difficult. I found it hard for physical reasons. The soldiering side of it, I found at Doddle, I never had a problem with any of that. I took naturally to being in the field and stuff like that. It was the fitness, and I make no secret of the fact I did P Company 3 times. So I used to kind of be a bit of ashamed of that, but now I wear it as a bit of a badge of honor, because it's like I could have easily knocked it on the head and gone to the Green Jackets or another unit, but I'd have regretted it for the rest of my life.
Like I say, I got back squatted through injury, and then I was on, going through injury, and it was really tough for me, really, really tough trying to adapt and evolve to the high standards of fitness, because they say, because I focused too much on my fitness, and when it come, that's probably why I got injured. And my advice to anyone joining the army, or even better, the parachute regiment trainers, get to a certain level of fitness. Don't be super fit, because it's a different fitness. It's not running for 7 miles with trainers. It's running for 7 miles in fucking kit with weight on your back. That's different. I could run all day with fucking trainers on.
Yeah.
But military training, it's different. So that's why you hear so many people get injured, because they're in that mindset, and I need to get fit. Well, that's what I did, and for P Company, I smashed it. It's something I can be proud. Yeah, okay, I got filled in on milling, like I had to take my contact lenses out, and I milled me mate like it was a boxer. But like apart from that, as long as you can do that for a minute and get battered, that's what they want. But like, tabbing for me was so hard. Soldiering was difficult. It's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be easy. You go to war, you come back in a wooden box, or you come back fucking with a few scrapes, or you come back laughing your tits off like a little kid, like we always used to. But think, when you're on ops, you're a professional soldier. In camp, you're like a little bunch of kids.
Yeah, true, very true. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, you kind of you got through Depot, and then obviously you went to 1 Para.
Northern Ireland.
Straight to Northern Ireland?
Yeah. I was in Battalion 2 weeks doing the whole, and it was a ghost town because they were on pre-deployment training for Northern Ireland, and when they were coming back, man, I was shitting myself. My arse was going like that. Seeing these men covered in shit and burly, and just, you looked at them and I thought, I don't know whether to be scared or have a wank. That's the aura that's the aura that I got from these people. I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
But I was in amazement as well at just how they were conducting themselves, just coming off exercise, and I'm like that. But I was thrown in the deep end. Fuck you. You're a parachute regiment soldier now. The fun and games is over now. You're in Battalion, straight in the deep end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like you turn up I turn up at Aldershot and walking through the blocks at Aldershot, people hanging out of windows, almost shouting fresh meat at you. You're a bit like, holy shit, what have I let myself in for? But it's good. It's a learning curve. And as much as they are like aerials, paratroopers, there was probably the same as when you joined, there was still quite a few sort of Falklands vets knocking around and stuff like that. So, but they were all, as long as you weren't a dick, people took you in, and kind of you got taught, you know, and as you went. So yeah, straight to Northern Ireland, like you say. Whereabouts in Northern Ireland did you go on that tour?
South of Mar, so we went around, I spent most of my time in Besbrook Mill, but I went around Romeo, the Romeos, Falkhill, Crossmaglen. Basically, in 6 months, I realised Northern Ireland is an actual shithole country, and I'd never want to go there again. Its weather's fucking shit. The accent's fucking awful. But the thing is, though, it was an experience. It was like a bit of, you know, I'm thrown in doing a first operation as a green role soldier, and then we're transitioning, but we're transitioned early because of how good we were doing training for the new role of Special Forces Support Group. So, like, I'm seeing a mixture. Like, I'm thinking, I've been learning all this green role soldiering, and I'm coming in, and then next minute, you learn having to learn this, you having to learn that weapon system, and you're like, shit the bed, what's going on here? This is what it was. This is what it's like. That's what it's like when you're going into a new role, and you know, like the amount of times the blokes were getting gripped for, well, you know, if you want to be SF, join the fuckers, and I'm thinking, wait, you want what to be more like SF, but you don't want what to not be a What do you want it to be, you know, so to speak? It was just mental, but as time went on, you saw it was changing, and you were always hearing the rumours that they're going to total change with full stop. And I think that was the time when Mike Jackson went no with the whole cap badge and disbanding. They were like, no. And because, you know, saying, like what they've done with the Rangers now, there was, maybe, you know, you'll get a new cap badge like SF Special Force, you know, make a new regiment kind of thing. And there were, you know, because our beret was originally blue, wasn't it? Till it was changed by brown and white. And they were talking about that. And then you're seeing 4 Para do UN with the blue berets on, and I'm like,
no.
In Kosovo, they fucked them all off.
They burnt them all, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember packing all the stuff from Dover to move to St. Athens, and we're seeing boxes of UN shit and just blue berets, and I was like, I couldn't imagine the bloke, you know, that iconic, you know, that iconic picture of Kosovo with Ian Flannery with a Jimby like that. Imagine him with that blue fucking shite on his head. It'd be like, the fuck's that? That is iconic, that photo.
Well, it would have never happened, like you said. They tried to do it in Kosovo. If they'd have tried a new cap badge, I think the blokes would have rebelled, because, you know, as much as the Reg is a very, very disciplined unit, it's also full of individuals and people that won't take no shit. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? And you club together, and it's like, no, that's not happening. Strength in numbers and all that. So, yeah, I suppose I bet it was quite exciting for the whole time when they were forming SFSG. I mean, I remember hearing about it. I think, what year was that he kind of made it SFSG?
Well, it was supposed to be about 2008, 2009, but because we were so good in changing and adapting, as you know, adapt and overcome. That's part and parcel of who we are. And we started in 2005, 2006, the transformation. So blokes were like halfway through Northern Ireland, fucking off to Iraq. And they were buzzing. They were like, mental. You're halfway through Northern Ireland, right, lads? You're going back. You need to change. And then you're changing your style of training and doing, you know, other things, and like doing the counter-terrorism. Like, that was really good. Mad, you know, you never would ever think paratroopers in black kit in night fast roping onto a moving ship. I thought it was absolutely mega. I thought, you know, it's not what bread and butter parachute regiment soldiering is, but we can do whatever anyone else can do, if not better. Why not? You know, and I thought
absolutely.
It was really mega. I thought it was mega. Like, just doing that instead of crawling through fucking sheep shit in Brecon. I thought, this is fucking mega, this. You know,
Yeah,
but
no,
it was a good experience all around.
yeah, I bet. And I think it come about kind of after the Sierra Leone, when one para kind of aided SF in the rescuing of the is it the Royal Irish officers? I think they were kidnapped.
So if they from 1999 to all them years, that's got to say something. They've always held not just the parachute regiment, but one para as high regard. So if they were ever going to do something in the future in the special forces, that battalion is getting chose. You know, that you got to be proud about that. You've got to be proud of that. You know,
absolutely.
But, and going on operations with SB and Hereford, you know, loads of blokes have got their own stories. SB are more calmer and they speak to you like a human, and Hereford are a mixed bag of people, but they're both equally fucking good. And like, you know, the operations you go on, it's something that you can, you know, think, wow, not most, you know, you don't do this in Green Rules, so you're doing proper special forces kind of work. What they can do, we can do. Yes, okay, quite a lot of the time you're there doing a cordon, but there were certain times where there were certain jobs that we could lead for a change, and the guys who did them operations, the feedback was just, you wouldn't have thought there were anyone different. You know, in some cases, a little bit better, and that pissed them off a bit in Hereford. You know, so that you know, you tell a paratrooper, go find a stick, they'll come back with a fucking tree.
True story, yeah.
They'll go and find me a stick. Fuck a stick, I'm getting a tree, mate. You know,
well, that's it. Because of the pride of the unit. Like I've spoke to other guys, and I know people are proud of being in their units, but the Power Edge Brotherhood, it's a bit like cult status. That's how I found it. It's like a cult. People are proud. People have got their Reg tattoos. I mean, I've got one or two myself.
100%.
So, you know, they were given there an opportunity that was never really been heard of, or certainly in a lot of years since sort of the Second World War and stuff, when they were forming units and stuff, to kind of prove themselves as this, to be up there with SF. Of course they were going to take it on board, and of course they were never going to fail. There was no question in anyone's mind that as soon as they picked one para for the role, I personally believe if they'd have picked any of the three battalions, it have all been the same mentality and everything else. But you know, they were never going to fail. They were just going to absolutely smash it, and they have. So,
well, I think at the time 2 and 3 para were occupied. Just like the Falklands, 2 and 3 para were not occupied and got chose to go to the Falklands, where it was 1 para, Northern Ireland, and stood too. And for a war, you're not going to send a whole regiment there in case they're unfortunate. But if you did send the whole regiment there, I reckon it would have been finished a bit sooner than it did.
Yeah.
But you can imagine joining 1 para after the Falklands, that must have been a bit salty, a bit. Oof. They've just getting taste of, you know, and that's I think the rivalry between the 3 battalions. 1 para was always the 1st battalion, but on operations, even back to World War II, it's 2 and 3 para. But I know they were kind of different, but it was more 2 and 3 para and 1 para. However, 1 para do the Sierra Leone and then get chose for the new role of assistant special forces. But so you're always going to get the battalion rivalries, but at the end of the day,
it's a bit of when luck, isn't it? Like you say, if one's occupied, you get sent. It could have been any. I end up going to.
It could have been any battalion. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, when 1 para went to Sierra Leone in '99, sort of 2000 time. They were a company down. I think B Company were overseas doing a foreign exercise. And that's how come I went to Sierra Leone, because I was D Company 2 Para. They called us back off leaving.
I had a company of 2 Para and all that.
That's right. So then it was just luck and judgment. They basically rang our OC up and said, right, can you get we're all on leave. I'd just got back from Tenerife. And my old man were like, the army have rang you. You've got to get back to Colchester. So I was like, fucking hell, wacky racers down to Colchester. There were blokes running out the block with bags and stuff trying to get on the bus. And
the thing is, though, right? You picture that. It is the wacky races. You try that now, blokes are like, oh, fuck, because there isn't like what we're doing now, and it's fuck around, find out, and and I was like, even the mentality of the whole army's changing. It's like, and the standards like with beards and stuff like that. Like it's like what you said about the SLRs and the S80. Well, yeah, it fucking is, but everyone's gonna have that. Oh, it was better in my day, and it's better in the new day. But I think we can all agree it doesn't matter what era we served. We're all part of the brotherhood. Simple as that. And some people get a bit mistaken about that and forget that.
Yeah, no. You do, you see a Power Ridge T-shirt when you're on holiday, you're straight over, Power Ridge straight over.
Like
what battalion?
Yeah, you're hovering and you'd be sunbathing and like that. Can I help you, mate? What battalion you in, mate? It's mega, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is good.
You're in the bar getting pissed.
I like that, and I like to kind of, I joined at 17 and left when I was 24, and it was a big part of my life, and it shaped me for the rest of my life, and everything I do and have done since as a result of the stuff I learned, the unit that I served with, and the team environment. You know what I mean? So it's really, really good. Anyway, moving swiftly on, otherwise we're going to run out of time here. I'm conscious we've got some stuff going off. So yeah, obviously straight to Northern Ireland. What other tours did you get involved in while you're in?
Did Afghanistan. I can talk a little bit more on Afghanistan, but there's nothing really to say. You were there because of what was going on in the world. Experienced, mental, and then being involved in a vehicle explosion in a Wimmick. It was a pressure plate mine, so it was designed to take one soldier out, which takes 5 out, because you got to think 4 people for the stretcher and all that. So that warfare and on that op, so many people were hitting mines, and it was an error by the head shed. You never go back to the same place again. We did, and we're driving over mines. So thankfully, no one got seriously injured, but it could have been. Blokes were on the quads going over, and then next minute the trailer's blown up. So it was like a delayed. So imagine if that was just instant, like the eye. It was scary because you're thinking sometimes fighting an invisible fucking army with all these IEDs. It was disgusting.
Well, it became like guerrilla tactics, didn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously, we're never gonna. The only sort of way you beat guerrilla tactics is by adopting a guerrilla kind of response to that. And it's unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you look about it, we don't really, unless sort of SF, SFSG and stuff like that, you don't really operate like that in the Green Army as such, do you? So.
No. And then I finished Iraq. I did a the winter one, so 2009, finished in 2010. Doing like more nighttime ops, more kicking doors in not rural, built up areas like in Iraq, and doing jobs alongside Hereford and all that, and that was pretty interesting. Yeah, sometimes it was boring for quite a lot of us. So yeah, I in my time in the Parachute Regiment, I saw a lot. I went through the changes, and if I could say, I wish I was, say, 10 years older and experienced a bit more green roll, the old ways of the parachute regiment and stuff like that before we did the transition. I would have loved that, but that you can't help when you're born, etc. But I will, good or bad, my military career, whatever people want to say, I don't care. At least I did. I made it. Wish I did more. Wish I was able to achieve more. But tough fucking shit. I'm not known for me time in the army. I'm known for something fucking total different. And at least I try to experience and do things, and I'm not on this planet to be loved and hated by everyone. And I don't go out my way to rub ex-paratroopers up the wrong way. Some people will say this and that, but I think at the end of the day, you should just focus on what you did in the military,
exactly.
No one else.
No, exactly, Paul. And you like you say, you said it right there. You can only do. There was guys that joined for sort of perhaps areas in the 90s that only did island. You can only go into the army doing what you do. And like I said it the same. I joined at 17 and left at 24. And that period of my life, I was, as anyone is, between the ages of 17 and early 20s. You just want to be on the piss, having a good time, sort of chatting up women and that sort of thing. Yeah. And I always said, if I'd have joined the Reg or I'd have stayed in a bit longer and got into my mid to late 20s, I'd have probably gone on every course known to man. I'd have liked to have gone on selection, but I didn't. I left, and that's the way it went. And I can't change that. And obviously, your path's set out, you do what you do. And I'm very, very thankful. And I'm moving on to yourself in a second about that. It's like I was all about different experiences. So I didn't want to be a one-trick pony and do 22 years in the military. I wanted to come out, and I was given an opportunity a bit like yourself. So, how long did you do then? Did you do you 4 years or?
I did 6 years. So
6 years, yeah.
6 years, 3 ops, 3 gongs, experienced Green Rules, Parachute Regiment soldier, SF type of soldier. I experienced it. Met some great, fantastic Parachute Regiment soldiers, fantastic men, some that I still communicate with today. And, at the end of the day, we're all part of the brotherhood. That's Absolutely. It. Whether you like the person or not, you can say airborne. Simple as that. And just leave it at that. But like I say, when I was coming and I was leaving the army, I thought, well, I'll do what everyone is doing, CP. So I went and done my courses, and a friend of mine who was in my platoon, he was like, have you ever heard of the pirates? I was like, Captain Jack Sparrow. He went, no, man, you bellend. Somali pirates, all that. Chogies cutting around and all that. I was thinking, what? And he says, have a look. Do this course. The money's fucking mega, blah, blah. But you get the gun here, there, and everywhere. So I was thinking, the pull, the pull was in that era. The pull was there, wasn't it? The pull was after, Iraq finished in 2003. It was drawn you. And I don't care what people say. You do get drawn for the money because you want to, be financially stable. You knew the risks were going to be greater because you didn't have the blanket that the military gives you in security. You're private, so you have some sort of security, but not like the military. And you always heard the stories from the Yanks, like Blackwater and stuff like that and all that. But I'm thinking, I don't care. We're the British. We are model professionals. And I went and done my courses for Maritime, and and then you finally get out on the scene, and people take the piss. Oh, this is for the Marines, and I'm thinking, what you can do, we do better. But that's the Parachute Regiment attitude. If you can do it, we'll try and do it better. We'll adapt and overcome. We'll do this, we'll do that. And you were seeing loads of blokes from CP world jumping onto Maritime, and just people coming out the military and jumping onto Maritime. And it was an experience, to say its least. Total nothing what I've ever done in my entire life. And people came into contact with the pirates. You got to understand how big the fucking ocean is to see these. I remember coming down the Red Sea, and it was in the morning where you're more likely to get attacked, first night and last night. And when you look at the ocean, it was like a sheet of glass. And then we passed this skiff, and there was about 6 or 7 of them. But they're just spotters. They're just up with the radios. They're watching to see if there's security. Yeah, the security. Yeah, don't get that. Get the next one. There's no security. No, I was hearing stories. There was 2 ships going through the IRTC, and it was getting attacked by pirates. And the ship in front was like, we can just report it. It was just mental, but it was business. You do feel sorry for them, because Al-Shabaab, the terrorist group, would go into like a village in Somalia and go and grab the men and go, you will hijack ship or we'll kill your families. And they're like, so let's chew some cat, get off our tits and get some Dutch courage. There's an AK, there's an RPG, off your pop, mate. But it was an experience. I enjoyed it, seeing different nationalities and crew and going to different countries. Yes, okay, some were shitholes, but I've never been to Egypt before. I went there when they were smashing each other and killing each other, but they didn't do it on a Saturday and Sunday. That's all. Right, we'll start killing people in the streets Monday to Friday, but Saturday, Sunday we'll have day off.
Very organised.
Yeah, it was mental. But I thought, why not? The amount of people that were telling me they were doing that, and I just thought, well, why not give it a go? A bit of different experience, and then that draws to what I'm more known for. And yes, we're wrong place, wrong time, and I do actually believe it was and I can say this now, a season. It was a season. I can't even fucking say it. It was a seizure exercise. It was done like to entrap or to make us big news, to say, ha, we've got them. Because what was happening,
statement, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a statement on the world scene, because not many people might be aware of this. For the whole Maritime NATO exercise, India was just, they weren't PIDing actual Somali pirates. They were just fucking murdering every fucker and passing them off as pirates. And they got found out. They got their arse smacked. They got kicked off. So they were pissed off. Because when I was in India, their mindset was Indian Ocean. This ocean belongs to us. And I'm thinking, well, you can't police it. I don't care how big your navy is. You can't police it. And then in 2012, there was 2 Italian Marines doing like the same, but for actual their navy. And they ended up killing 2 Indian fishermen. But the Indians
couldn't. I remember the story. Yeah.
They couldn't prosecute them, so they were seething. So not only they've been kicked off maritime operations, this has happened, and then hello, we come, and then they've gone, ha, fucking got you bastards. We're going to make an example of yous, and we only were wanting food, fuel, and provisions. The only reason why we came so close to Indian waters and close to Indian land is because there was a cyclone, and under the Maritime Act you can seek shelter from an act of God in a neighbouring country, and we were that close because the ship wouldn't come out too far. But whether it was dodgy or not, like, you don't think like that when you're doing that kind of work. You don't go, oh, that's dodgy, as long as you think, well, I've got my documents, everything's A-okay. Let's not beat around the bush. Anyone who works in that kind of environment knows you go to these countries where the dollar bill talks, but
absolutely.
You don't initiate it. You wait for them if you're in the shit, and then it's like you put words into their mouth. You're like, so if there's a problem, how can we make this go away then? And they're like, right. You're not trying to bribe us, but bribery is an everyday occurrence in that part of the world.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And corruption is rife as muck. And I was part of a massive corrupt case, and it was like, well, yeah, how do you begin? And 1 minute you're taking fuel and provisions, next minute the Coast Guard's boarded your vessel and you're heading towards the port of Tuticorin. We were doing maritime operations, and then we ceased operations, so all the weapons get stored away, locked away, but the tactical deployment officer and the captain's the only two people who can get access. So, and then we're just taking fuel and provisions, and I think the second officer got a phone, was able to be so close, he got a phone signal, and apparently he didn't get paid, and he waffled some utter shit to port, and I think he's the one that started the ball rolling. But what I found strange is there was 35 men on our company vessel. There was 35 weapons, but only 25 of those men could use these weapons. But it didn't matter. The way the Indian police orchestrated their whole proceedings, a cat could have been on the fucking ship and that would have been in prison. They were relentless. It was just mental. But you think to yourself, this is what happens. So you know what to expect, but you're not surprised if it goes tits up. But you just hope the stories that you've heard when it does go tits up doesn't happen to you. About, going to their lavish hotels. We've always heard about people with freight passports and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look legitimate, and bit of cash. There was none of that with us. It was boom, 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 boom. And then when we were brought and finally docked into the port of Tuticorin, mind, if we had gone 12 knots or just normal regular speed, which is roughly around that speed, it would have only took us an hour and a half to get to the port. But it took hours, and we were going 2 knots. We were going very slow. Going that slow, you wouldn't think we were fucking moving. And then when we got close, there was a massive welcome committee, and that kind of raised eyebrows and suspicion with myself. I was thinking, if you just grabbed people, you're not going to have all them people.
Yeah.
Something's not right here. Something's not right. Something's being said, but you don't think that at the time. I can reflect back now and go, that was from the get-go planned.
Staged. It sounds very, very staged, doesn't it?
It was definitely. You don't get different organisations as far as, say, Mumbai come to where we were on the southeast coast of India. You've got to remember where Mumbai is. It's in the middle west, where southeast. So, what's going on here? But you get told, keep out of the way, where's your discharge book, your passport, blah, blah, make sure your visas and your stamps is all done. And then days are going by, and then day 4, they remove the weapons, and you're thinking, right, okay, the weapons, maybe there's something wrong, even though we knew there was nothing wrong with the documentation, with the weapons. And then next minute, like on the 17th of October 2013. We were just finishing off, and I thought, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. That's it. And then it felt like we weren't to bed too long. And then the TGO came and woke we all up at after o'clock in the morning saying, right, lads, you need to get your shit sorted. You're going to hospital for treatment. And went, hospital? Went, you know where you're going, man. But that's what they've told us, where you're going. However, this hospital doesn't let you take your watch, your wallet, your mobile phone. Don't take that fucking belt. See your wedding ring, mate, you can't have that. And you know, your reading glasses, you can't take them either. And blokes are like, eh? And then the TGO went, let's not beat around the bush, gents. You know what's happening. Suggest you ring your fucking families now. Well, during the 6 days of us being in port, the embassy's aware, the company's aware. My family's aware, because I tell my family that I'm not selling weapons to fishermen. I'm not staging a Mumbai-style attack on the nuclear power. This is media that the Indians were spouting online. And my family are asking me if I'm doing something fucking dodgy. How do you think that makes me feel? That the lies of the Indian authorities and media have started on the get-go. They've not gone, oh, what's going on here? They've just gone, it's like the story was already written. It just needed to go to print.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, it was 5.5 hours ahead. So it was after o'clock in the morning, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, we were getting told you're getting off the ship. So my family were asleep between 3, 4:30 in the morning. And then, I'm just like, wow, what do I do? I tried ringing my sister. She never answered. So I rang my mum. I knew not ringing my dad, I'd never wake that fuck. I rang my mum, and it was before her tablets couldn't kick in, so she couldn't, so she was like a bit groggy, but not sleepy as such. And it's the last time I spoke to my mum before she suffered a double aneurysm where she can't speak properly now. And when I see my mum, like I will later of the day, and I hear her, I have to sometimes just try and think of like a happy place. Because inside, even to this day, it just riles us. And I know it could have happened any time out. Oh, I wish it did. But if that was the case, my mum might not be alive today. And it happened with a build-up of stress through me going through what I did. And I rang her and I says, look, Mum, you know what's happening. I'm ringing to say I love you, and they're removing me from the ship. I don't know when you'll next speak or hear from us, so I love you. And I think it was more of my mum didn't digest it till I'd put the phone down, and I rang me, and my sister was ringing us back. I went, shit's hit the fan, get the embassy, we'll go to prison. She went, what? I went, yeah, ta-da, love you.
But
I couldn't stay and get upset. I had to keep my mind in the game. I had to keep me wits about us. And they went, right, the media's here. Put your uniform on. We're professional. You know you haven't done anything wrong. And it pissed me off that some of the guys were covering their faces for the media. I didn't. What have I got to be scared about? I've done nothing wrong. But each to their own on that, each to their own. And then we get carted off to the police station, and it was just a fucking gang fuck. Screaming, shouting, no interpretation. Okay, one of the ship crews from Tamil Nadu, so he was acting as under fucking charge, well, not even charged really, suspicion of whatever they were charging were in suspicion of, as our interpreter, because our agent was nowhere to be fucking seen. They couldn't get, we heard that our embassy got refused entry to Seaway. So sign this and we'll ruin your life. it's a blank piece of paper, mate. I'm not signing for all. Because we hear these stories on them programs like Banged Up Brits Abroad.
Yeah,
where they go, that's your statement, mate. And you're like, mate, I can't read that. Just sign there, mate. It's all right. I'm not signing nothing. No fucking way. Write your name down. My passport's there. Copy it. All right. You know, you've got to act like with a bit of chip on your shoulder, but inside you're shitting yourself. You're thinking,
you're bound to be.
Going on? What on earth's going on? And you've got the heat. You're not drinking water. Your head's going like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, don't think about what's happening in the UK. Only think about what you can control here and now. And it was just like, and then we get carted away at night time and we pull up at the Hotel California. A very scary looking, this was built using Indian slaves under the British rule prison. And 6 British is coming for a nice little stay. And you could see the base on the guards. They were like, shoes on the other foot, motherfucker. And you're like, what? I've got nothing to do with this. This is way before my time. But it was, you looked at the prison and you're like, fuck off, mosquito. And you're like, what the fuck's on the other side of them gates? And then when you come, everything's like dark, and then we all got thrown in this big fucking outhouse building. All 35 were given a dog bowl, a cup, 2 sheets, and a hole in the floor for 35 men. And everyone, you could just feel and cut the tension with a knife. Everyone was like, what in the fuck's going on? It was just absolute gang fuck. You know? And then the next day when they open the cell door and you kind of see your surroundings and you see the other main prison where the other prisoners are, but they had to keep away from us. There was guards kind of to make sure we didn't interact with them. And you looked at them and we felt like in a zoo attraction. Because in that part of India, white man, the last time they probably saw a white man, was during the British rule. You know, it was mental. It was scary, to say the least, scary.
I quite believe it. It's just, like I say, I bet part of you was a little bit like, right, you know, I bet a bit of you was like, right, this might be over very, very, or you had the hope that it was going to be over very, very quickly, because it's one of them. It's like, it's clearly been a mistake. You know it's a mistake, or all of the crew knew it was a mistake. But so you're thinking, oh, this is going to kind of get rectified by the British government quite quickly. You're going to be released, blah blah blah. So there's that hope there. So I can understand obviously why you're shitting yourself, because fucking hell, it sounds like, well, it clearly was a hellhole, and then, you know, the uncertainty of it. But there must be that part of you as well, as, like I say, is thinking this will be resolved in a few weeks, or, you know.
Oh, you know, no illusions. Yeah, when the day it, you know, started to settle in a bit, we get a call. Yeah, the embassy's come here. So you're thinking, yeah, the embassy's here. There's just a misunderstanding, you know, wires crossed. I know this. I'm in this line of work. We hear all the stories about this. People jump the gun because they want a little bit of this. It's all been sorted. And then the embassy's like, I think you should, do you want to write letters to your family? I went, what? Well, and what's going on? Right. We don't know. What do you mean you don't know? If you don't know and we don't know, what the fuck's going on? The Indians are staying here, and tomorrow yous are going up to Chennai. So, you know, there was one lady that came from New Delhi and the other was from Chennai. And I was just like, right, okay. And then the next day we left to go on a long 14-hour lunatic-driven bus journey where Indian police are just, you don't even know the state of their weapons. They're fucking all over like this, where like, I'm not even going to fucking get there. I'm going to be D. They're going to ND and fucking, oh, it's going to be... So you're like, your head's going like 1,000 million miles an hour because all I can think of is what the fuck's going on, what's my family doing, and then if he puts that barrel near me, I'm going to twat him with this weapon. We weren't even handcuffed, man. But they knew if we'd done something, we're not going to get far. Look, 23 white people running around in the southeast of India, they'll pick up like flies. We wouldn't be able to blend in like anyone else, you know. Or Hydra, where they're, you know, the shit's scared of the police in their country, so we couldn't hide. So you just comply. And why would you do anything anyways? You've done nothing wrong. Why would you rebel or do it? I've done nothing wrong. No, yes, I am under no illusion things can, you know, look and appear worse than what they really are. So you always had that little hope, and I never gave in with hope. You know, there's many times where I wanted to throw the towel in because it's different level of mental anguish attributes you need. Like being a parachute regiment soldier got me mentally up here, but going through what you know, it's different. That's why I've always say I'm very grateful for my military training and the mental aspect of it, because when the shit hits the fan, you don't just do what anyone else does and goes and crumbles in the corner. You're like, right, let's try and assess the situation. Fucking this, blah, blah, while I'm still healthy in the mind. Try and get the layout of the land or the prison and try and see who's the gang leader in the compound. Where we're trying, you know, we're having different, you know, it was just, that's what's going through your head. And when we came into prison, like up in Chennai, we had like Nigerians there, Sri Lankan Tamil Tigers, Iranian Mefti. It was you know, all the foreigners, and some of them, can you get with weapons? I'm like, what do you mean get weapons? In media, and they were showing and they were like, what the fuck are they writing about? These fucking idiots. What the fuck do they think we are? And we were constantly, we're not who you think we are. We're just these. And the other prisoners were like, oh, all right, so you can't get with weapons. No.
No.
I'm like, okay. But like, you know, time went on. You're learning to be in a prison in a foreign country. It's difficult. All you can think about is your family. And when you go to sleep, when you try to go to sleep, you just let the tears roll down your eyes because you don't want to show weakness in the group. You don't want... I was a fond believer. If I can't make you happy, I'll make you pissed off happy. But never be negative, because negativity in that situation spreads like a wildfire.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
probably what happened with my mental health decline. I focused on everyone else. If we keep the group happy, we're all happy. And maybe I should have been a bit fucking selfish and fucked everyone off and just thought of myself, but that's not me. That's not my nature. And after what I've experienced, this is me. It's made me who I am today, and I don't regret anything. Okay, I might regret of kicking off in the hospital and getting put into a 3-month kind of compound lockdown, but emotions, you can't control them. Look at the situation we're in. You try and do something fucking better. No, you weren't there. I was. I lived with it. I experienced it day in, day out. They couldn't hurt you physically. They hurt you mentally. and to constantly have that in the back of your head, wondering when it's going to end, like going, and then like you're having the embassy meetings like so many times a month, and you're receiving letters from family, and sometimes you just don't know what to write back. I'm all right. That's not what your mum and dad want. They want to know how you are. You're that baby, you know? Yeah. And you're like, I've got to lie sometimes to hide and keep the emotions from me family because I don't want to worry them.
Yeah,
you know, I don't want to worry me family. I want to just say I'm all right. Fucking, paratrooper. But no military training, no amount would, set me up. Yeah, it helped. It helped. But it's not the same. We're all, three different cultures of people: Ukrainians, Estonians, British, different ways of life, different, upbringings. Blokes were fucking dropping like flies, man. Their lives are just destroyed. I can only speak for my own, but we all went through our own hell. But we all survived, and I mean just by the captain. But, for someone to say this, that, and the other, yeah, okay. But you weren't there, I can only tell how it is. And I've got 22 other people who I was in prison with to say, well, that wasn't right. So I've got nothing to lie about what happened. I fucking, I'll get smashed straight away. So I tell it how it is. I don't try and exaggerate. I just tell it how it is. It was shit as it fucking was. You don't need to exaggerate our story. You don't need to lie. If you tell it how it is, it's horrific as it is. Yes.
Yeah.
We were safety in numbers, 100% safety in numbers. We got a little bit more than we should have, but that's not in the form of a fucking plush fucking bed, 3 lovely meals a day, and decide whether you play your PlayStation or your Xbox like the fucking prisons in the UK. No, this was battling with the heat, battling with, guards who couldn't speak English, rats the size of fucking cats. The rats spread disease. Fuck me, there was this orange, black, and spider. I was thinking, what the fuck is that? That bit, yeah, you're fucked. There was cobras. They said the cobras. And they were. You'd see them eating the snake. I'm thinking, that bit, yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, I can only imagine your access to kind of sort of medical facilities is going to be shit. But take nothing away from the fact, like, you get put in prison in any country in the world, never mind over there, but you're having 4 years of your life taken away. That is harsh enough regardless. But then to, like you just said, to put up, to withstand the wildlife, the rats, the conditions, the heat alone, any one of them factors makes it hellish, but all together just makes it, fucking mental, to be fair.
There's always a time where you'll look back at things that happened in your life and it feels like yesterday. And I remember, like, this was in the second prison, technically, but it was the first prison in Chennai, the remand prison, before we got bail in April 2004. It was just before Christmas. One of the guys had an interview, had a meeting with the embassy, and he was told to stay back, and then he came back, and he was like, "Oh, my family, me girlfriend, my dad, and my brother is coming to see us." And I was thinking, that's great, fucking, you know what I mean? That's great. And then, my birthday is in March, and we were arrested in October, and it's getting close to the Christmas, and you're thinking, wait, I've been in fucking Baghdad in Christmas. Fuck me, but I've never been wrongfully imprisoned in a foreign country around Christmas So it does hit you for six a bit, but you think, I don't want my family not to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, I get you.
But they did. It was because I'm not there. It's different if I was working, but it's not the same. So Christmas was cancelled, and then it was well and truly cancelled because we had a meeting, and the embassy girls went, Nick, can you stay behind? And I'm like a Cheshire cat. I'm buzzing. I'm thinking, wow, this is just what, someone from my family's coming as visitors. And then I'm sat there by myself with the two embassy girls, and their face and demeanour just changes, and they go, I'm sorry. And they gave us a letter. And even to this day, I don't even know what that letter says. I don't even know if I ripped it up. But when certain keywords start jumping out. So through me, I knew it was bad news by how I was given the letter. I just didn't know how bad the news was. What news it was. Nothing was jumping out at me. And all I could remember in this letter was my sister saying, don't worry, she's okay, she's okay. And then it hit me. My mum went to get her hair done in the hairdresser's 5 days before Christmas. And she just collapsed with a double bleed on the brain. An aneurysm. And I knew what an aneurysm was because obviously when, and do medical courses and stuff like that, you learn. But my sister hadn't a clue about what an aneurysm was. I said, picture watching the telly and someone just getting the plug and pulling it out the socket. That's an aneurysm. But picture a TV just putting the standby. That's my mum.
Wow.
And I'm in a prison, and it was nearly like a mile from the jailer's office back to our compound. And honestly, my head was just the red mists coming, and I'm like, no, don't. And I'm trying to walk back to the compound, and I'm not saying this, right? Just because I can. This happened, but you can hear certain words. You knew there were racial slurs. Yes, we fucking can be racially abused. And stones were being thrown at me, bouncing off me, because guess what? The pain in here is far more than what you fucking horrible savages can do to me. And I was getting beaten and with stones and hurled abuse. And I was walking, I was dragging me flip-flops because my world had just ended.
Yeah,
My mum's fighting for her life. The surgeon, obviously I didn't realise it was an Indian surgeon till my sister came to visit me. I don't care where he was from. He was doing his job and he did it to the best of his ability. My mum is still alive today. And he gave my sister and my brother two options. We operate, she still may die. We don't, she's dead. So when I say you don't have to be religious, but never give in and always believe in hope. And I believe my mum used that attitude of a parachute regiment soldier that never give in because she wanted to stay alive for me. Because if she went and if she died and I was in that prison, I would not be here today. I would have destroyed. I would have just gone consume me, and I would just exploded. Your animal instincts kicks in. You go into berserker mode. I would have lost my world. There would have been nothing left in this world for me if my mum had died in that situation that I found myself in. I would have just gone, that's it, game over. And I got into the compound and one of the blokes saw me and he took me away. And I broke down. I was like, I can't do this. No. And he was ex-parachute regiment and he was ex-1 para and he grabbed me and he fucking shook the fucking life out of me. He says, remember what you are. Remember, these bastards will never beat us. No one beats us. No one gets in our head. Keep fighting. This is just a test. And he was right. Through the course of 4 years, they hit where everything they could get to try and make us break in our minds. And did for some people, don't get me wrong, I mastered a lot, you know, and it affected us all. But we all came out. I would like to say we all came out with our heads held high, with pride intact, scarred, battered, but alive. And it could have been a total different end game, you know, but you go through tough times in life, you really do, and you never know what you're capable of till you have to deal with adversity in life. And I think that was my test in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
I'm not a religious guy, but I went behind the toilets. Yes, not the greatest place, but I used to go behind the toilets because I knew no one would come here. I couldn't smell the shit. I was past caring.
Probably immune to it by that point, I suspect.
I was immune to it, yeah. But I used to pray and ask for forgiveness. This is my fault. And tell me what I need to do. And I got nothing. I got nothing. And I thought, to fucking hell with you, I'll do it myself then. But you can only take yourself so far, to the point where you're trying to write letters to your family and you're like, I can't do this. I'm just giving. And then you're getting the letters back and then you start receiving letters from people around the world. I had letters from people in Australia, France, Canada, various places in the UK. Come on, Nick, you can do it. Keep going. We're all rooting for you. All 23 years, all 35, all 6 Brits. We're all behind you. And if this doesn't fucking ignite a spark in you to never give in, I don't know what was. What would? Because if it wasn't for people's amazing, kind support, we would have found it a lot tougher. Me personally, I would have. And I will always say thank you to everyone's amazing support, regardless of how many years goes by, because you people with your support got me over the line when it mattered most.
That's incredible, isn't it? It is. That's absolutely incredible that people gave you that support, and obviously all that time still being fed a lot of bullshit. Some of it maybe, you know, I don't know what different media outlets in different countries were saying, but obviously it was probably a mixed bag. Some of it were true, some of it were false. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy.
The amount of stories, even from the security sector, or, you know, the fucking bell end sites, do the crime, do the time. I'm like, you haven't got a fucking clue, you fucking clowns. You're just reading what you're hearing. You haven't got a clue.
I was out there. I think I just finished. I'd wrapped up on the Anti Piracy because I did 3 years of it, and I'd wrapped up by 2013 and joined the fire service. And I remember hearing the story and thinking, and I remember some of the reports coming out, and you know, the gossip amongst the community, and I was like, no fucking way in the world, like, would a company be out there doing that? They're not stupid. It would have just been, and straight away I knew, like, deep down, it was a political statement. Maybe you had wandered into the wrong waters or not. I don't know about that part, but regardless, it kind of, you know what I mean? It was a political statement. It was the Indian government flexing their muscles, and that's all it was, at your cost.
Part 2 coming soon.